Welcome to the Office of Sustainability's Recycling 101 training. I'm Allison Perry and I'm a waste management intern with the office. So let's first go over the two first learning objectives that we're going to go over in the next couple of slides. First, understand why recycling is important. And second, understand how China's national sword ban affected recycling. So let's begin. Why care about recycling? Well, to begin, landfills themselves can be a significant source of greenhouse gases. Landfills actually emit their own kind of gas, which is called landfill gas, or LFG for short. The kind of gas they emit is actually a natural byproduct of the decomposition of all the organic material that we dispose of in these landfills. Landfill gas is composed of about 50% methane and another 50% carbon dioxide. While carbon dioxide is the most known for being the gas that traps heat in our atmosphere, it's important to know here that methane is actually a very significant and potent greenhouse gas, and it is 28 to 36 times more effective than carbon dioxide at trapping heat in the atmosphere. So, recycling is actually a valuable resource for us, being that it does save energy. For example, if you recycle one aluminum can, it saves enough energy to run a television for 3 hours. It's also a valuable resource in the way that it prevents us from harvesting more raw material to make new items. So when we recycle and that recycling is made into that recycled material, we are able to use that for different products as opposed to going in and mining certain things or having to cut down trees for paper. There's also the factor of legal requirements. So CalRecycle has a mandate of a 75% diversion rate away from the landfill. So what this means is that we as a school need to get 75% of what's being thrown away that can be actually put into the recycling and get that into the mixed recycling. And if we don't meet the 75% diversion rate, then we as a state entity can actually be penalized for not doing so. And lastly, cost. Cost is a huge factor also, being that trash is actually more expensive than recycling when it comes to hauling fees. There's actually other fees that are related with recycling dumpsters within itself. There's penalties if we don't reach a certain recycling volume, or even if the recycling in the dumpster is contaminated. So it's important that we learn how to use these dumpsters correctly, so these fees don't start to add up on us. China's national sword ban. So this is a recent current event within the recycling community. January 2018 is when China implemented this ban, and it really affected a lot of recycling facilities all the way here in the US. And this being because approximately 30% of recyclables collected were exported out to other countries. And actually, China accounted for 69% of the US's export of plastic. So Essentially, what this ban does is that it prohibits the import of most plastics and other recyclable material. And the reason China did this was to cut down on the contamination that they were receiving because they were so lenient on their requirements for recycling. So this then caused many recycling facilities in the US to come to a halt because they were no longer able to ship the recycling materials that they had collected. So now recycling facilities are now refusing to take items such as saran wrap, fast food paper cups, compostable containers, plastic cutlery, and anything that is 70% contaminated. So our next learning objectives that we're going to go over in the next couple of slides is understand campus waste trends, understand campus recycling infrastructure, understand how to be a better recycler, understand our own recycling system, and lastly, understand what hazardous waste is. So, CSUDH waste audit trends. So first, let's try and understand what a waste audit is. So a waste audit is when interns like myself and volunteers collect random trash bags from different dumpsters around campus over the course of several months. Each time that we take out these trash bags, we dump them out and we sort them into 3 different categories of compostables, mixed recycling, and landfill. And what we're able to see from this is that is exactly how much waste could have been diverted out had it been properly put into the right recycling bins. So let's go over the recent diversion rate results that we had in the 2019 audits. We went through 340 pounds of waste, and from that, 76 pounds were considered mixed recycling. From those numbers, we got a potential diversion percentage of 22%. So 22% of the campus trash could have been diverted and actually put into mixed recycling. Recycling infrastructure on campus. So when it comes to our recycling bins, we do try and put them in conveniently located areas where there's most foot traffic so that everyone can use them, and in that way we can get more of a higher recycling volume. We are also moving towards a more picture-based signage when it comes to our bins, as you can see in one of the pictures. Our reason for doing this is that it's to make it easier for any passerby to just quickly look at the sign and put in whatever recycling we are able to accept, and then they can just go on without having to spend too much time actually reading a sign and figuring out what we accept. When it comes to training and education, we do have trash talk tablings. And what this is we have students play a waste sorting game where they, in a way, sort fake pieces of waste into the 3 different bins that we have on campus, which is compost, recycling, and landfill. And from there, we are able to teach them how to recycle properly. And so they're better able to understand how to use the bins. We do have an online version of this on our sustainability website. If you are interested on playing around with that later, please feel free. Reduced and reused resources. So our Toro Token and Toro Fresh program was just implemented in fall 2019. This program allows students to purchase a token at Toro Fresh so they can get their food in a reusable container. And once they're done with that container, they can give it back to Toro Fresh for Toro Fresh to wash and then reuse. And it's in this way that we're trying to reduce that single-use plastic waste. Next is Path Waters instead of plastic water bottles. What's cool about Path Waters is that this company actually sells reusable aluminum that's made from 100% recycled aluminum. Their water bottles actually come pre-filled as a way to reduce the water bottle waste. And we try and use these path waters for our visitors and for events that we have on campus. Next is hydration stations. We are trying to have a campus-wide rollout on converting all water fountains into hydration stations. That way they're more accessible and people are able to more easily refill their reusable canteens. And last, the bookstore has helped in putting for sale reusable straws and hydro flasks in their store. So these are just some of the resources that we have available. So basic rules to be a better recycler, the 3 R's. So what's better, drinking from a fountain or buying a plastic water bottle? So here we want to reduce, so we drink from a fountain as opposed to buying a plastic water bottle. The next one, refilling a reusable water bottle or using a plastic water bottle each time. Here we use the concept of reusing, and we want to reuse that water bottle that we have as opposed to buying the plastic bottle. Next, throwing a plastic water bottle in a trash or a recycling bin. We want to put it in a recycling bin. That way it can be used into better material. So it's important that we try and use this concept of reduce, reuse, and recycle, and that we try and do it in that order specifically. And the reason for that being is that we want to, if you can't do the first two, which is reduce and reuse, then you finally recycle. And we want recycling to be that final resort. So that way we are able to lower that trash volume. So recycling systems for CSUDH. Now we're going to go over the accepted materials. So on campus, we have a 3-bin setup. We have compost, which is food waste only, mixed recycling, and trash. Our hauler for our campus is Republic Services, so we go off of whatever accepted materials they accept based on what their ability is to process those materials. So when it comes to paper, they accept newspaper, envelopes, junk mail, phone books, brochures, and magazines. Next for cardboard, it's ream wrappers, file folders, poster boards, frozen food boxes, and cardboard boxes. For plastic, it's milk jugs, milk cartons, water, soda containers, shampoo, soap, or detergent bottles are also accepted. So for aluminum beverage cans are accepted, food cans and scrap metal, and finally glass. Beverage containers and glass fruit jars are accepted. Some important notes when it comes to recycling is that when we recycle, we want to make sure that we practice clean recycling to prevent contamination and to make it easier for workers to sort through. So when it comes to food cans And glass food jars, we want to rinse those out with water before we throw them into the recycling. We also want to collapse any cardboard boxes that we have as a way to optimize our volume level for recycling. And as always, if you're never really sure if something is recyclable, just look for a triangle that has a number in it. And we tend to accept 1 through 7, with the exception of items like saran wrap or any kind of plastic wrappers, fast food paper cups, and straws and plastic cutlery. So recycling special materials. Here we have a list of some hazardous waste, which are chemicals, paints, batteries, fluorescent tubes, CDs/DVDs, prescription medications, and e-waste. Hazardous waste can always be tricky to dispose of because it always needs to be specially disposed of. So when it comes to batteries, we do actually have battery drop-off buckets available in every building on campus. So that resources are available to you. For e-waste and CDs or DVDs, stores such as Target and IKEA tend to have bins for you where you can dispose of your e-waste and any kind of CDs and DVDs. For other hazardous waste, if you call your hauler, they tend to have a service where they will come to your house and pick up those hazardous materials for you. So those are some of the resources that you can use. Also, if you're not sure if something is hazardous or not, a rule of thumb to follow is if you don't want it burned in an incinerator next to your home or in your waterways, then you probably shouldn't dispose of it in the landfill or put it in any kind of mixed recycling. All right, well, now it's quiz time. So if you would like to test your comprehension by taking our 5-question quiz in the description section of this YouTube video, there will be a link. Enjoy, and remember, better recycling starts with all of us. So thank you for your time, and if you have any questions, please feel free to contact us.